Hey everybody, welcome to Mgtow is Freedom. I'm John, the host with the most, at least for the time being while you're watching. And then it's on to the next host. But remember, you're the man. You have the penis. You're your own host. Anyways, I do these videos, guys, and I'll start off thinking, okay, I'm going to have about a 10 to 15 minute talk. And sometimes I just go off. I go on, and if that's good, I'm glad. If it's bothersome, I apologize. You know, some of my videos do get kind of lengthy, and the one about fear, cigar combined with scotch, combined with a lot to say about that, took that video a long ways. So no promises. I'll keep them down to 10 minutes, but I'll do my best. Basically, I want to get all the information I have onto the video for your consideration. And I want to thank all you guys for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Just do it now. Bam. Give this video a thumbs up. You know it's going to be good. Also, give all Mgtow videos on all channels a thumbs up. We're going to continue to find ourselves under an increasing attack from feminist whores and the limp-wristed wimps in social media and computer land. You know, if you're a computer nerd and you're masculine, God bless you. But most of them, as far as I'm concerned, are a bunch of panty wastes, a bunch of fucking pussies, and I've had it with them, right? Using their computer power to push their social agenda. Well, they can fuck off. All right. Oh, and thank you for this stogie, guys. Those of you who contributed to the old system, which was fan funding through YouTube, and have now switched over to Patreon, I thank you very much. You guys buy the cigars, you buy the scotch, right? And I really appreciate that. It's cool. It's the best I can do to say, hey, let's have a drink together, right? So I have a scotch and a stogie usually while I sit down and talk to you guys. And pardon the power tools in the background. It's a beautiful sunny day, and it'll probably be snowing tomorrow, but for the time being, the neighbors are out with power tools, and they're going to let their presence be known, right? There's men about with power tools. Okay, so man-splaining. I heard this term and just about came out of my fucking socks. This isn't, and again, it's been years that I heard it, right? But every now and then I hear it again and I just have a chuckle. I'm like, man-splaining, are you sure that's a fucking problem? You got a fucking problem with that? So I want to cover kind of the quick history of man-splaining through my eyes, through my experience. When I was a little boy, I goofed around. I had Hot Wheels, I had toys and shit, baseballs, and I'd see my dad over there either working on something, and I go, hey Dad, can I help? That looks kind of manly. I wanted to try that shit. And he's like, now son, and he started in hindsight man-splaining. This is a saw, and this is a piece of wood, and this is a tape measure. This is how this works. And as much as a 4 or 5 or a 6-year-old boy could understand, he starts learning from Dad. And Dad uses that awesome fucking tone, the man-splaining tone, right? He's not talking down to you. He's putting it in terms he's sure you're going to understand because he wants to communicate, right? Communication. This great human skill developed by men. Right, women love to pretend they're the communicators. No, they're the manipulators. Men communicate because we build. If you're going to build Solomon's temple, if you're going to build the great pyramids, if you're going to build the great cathedrals, the high-rises, skyscrapers, you've got to communicate. You do it scientifically with math. You do it with good language skills, like pick up that fucking shovel and go dig that ditch, right? We get the job done. Women use communication to manipulate people, not to build. Big fucking difference. If you're a bitch watching this, it's time for some mansplaining, so I want you to take it as mansplaining. Anyways, back to my dad. So he mansplains to me about tools and the objective. What we're doing. And as a boy, I was like, oh, this is great. Dad's teaching me. He's telling me really important shit here, right? I'm going to pay attention. And if you're a dad, you see it in your son's eyes. You're like telling him something. He's like, oh, this is the good stuff, right? Mansplaining. It fucking works. It's not there to put you down. It's there to communicate with you, right? It's there to teach you the way it is. And as a boy, as a man, you eat that shit up. Dad's telling me the way it is. This is fucking great, right? Then your dad says, hey, son, go to the fridge. Get your dad a beer. He's getting thirsty, right? So you run to the fridge. You get a beer. You bring it back. Cracks the top or spins the bottle cap off. And he says, son, this is a beer. You're like, yeah, Dad, you drink beer. Tell me about it. Well, son, when a man gets thirsty, he wants to be refreshed. And when he's done getting pissed off at his job, he needs to relax. And that alcohol helps you, right? So he mansplains to us. He fucking tells us the way it is. And we eat that shit up. We're like, yeah, Dad, beer. That's the stuff. Men love beer. Right? So you got the mansplaining going on, and you love it. You love to hear that tone of voice, right? And maybe I do some mansplaining on this when I go, now guys, here's what I think of whores, right? And maybe I get mansplaining tones. But who gives a fuck? It's mansplaining. It's what we do. We're men, right? And I'm trying to communicate. I'm trying to communicate the best way I can, use the best words, best situation, everything. It's fucking mansplaining. It's good. Mansplaining is good. And maybe you remember the talk with your dad, your uncle, or your dad and his friends in a group. And they're telling jokes and you walk all over as a kid and you get up there and go, hey guys, hey dad, what are you guys talking about? And they go, son, we're talking about women, right? And he goes, you know about women, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I know about women. He's like, they got titties, right? They got asses, you know, or geez, you know, the guys, you're invited into the circle of men, right? Your dad and his friends, your uncles, whatever the case is, right? And you're talking about women, you know, a pain in the ass, nitpicking bitches, whatever was said, right? It's manly, it's mansplaining, right? And they'll be talking and then dad will look down to you and put it into terms you can understand, right? Because I didn't understand what the fuck they were saying. I was 10, 12. You know, I had some ideas and you know, they explain things, right? My dad used the term snatch once. He goes, yeah, women snatch. And I looked at him like, what's that mean? He goes, well, son, snatch is a term we use to describe the pussy. And I was like, ah, thanks, Dad, right? He mansplained it to me. I'm in on the know. Mansplain is good. I'm on the inside now. I know how shit works. I know what shit's called. I know about beer, scotch, whatever. Power tools, right? It takes mansplaining to get you there. So what's the fucking problem? Well, I'll tell you. Now we move on to the problem. The problem is women, feminist whores, don't like mansplaining. They don't like to learn by being lectured to by a man or dictated to by a man or told the way it is by a man. They say we're patronizing them. Well, if they don't fucking understand, right, you're in a meeting and you look across the table and you say, balance sheet. And the girl looks at you, fucking deer in the headlights, and you go, now, I'm going to have to explain for the benefit of everyone at the table, a reminder what a balance sheet is. And she goes, we don't need the mansplaining, because I was patronizing. And the proper response is, if you had known what a balance sheet is, I wouldn't have to explain it to you. But since you don't know, I'm going to have to. Otherwise, the meeting comes to a fucking end and the corporation crashes. Shut your fucking pie hole. Put up with a little mansplaining. Grow up. Now, maybe here's a theory. When I was 5, I wanted to hear the mansplaining. I wanted Dad to explain it to me. Girls are 5 in their head. Women, feminist whores, 5 years old. They don't want anyone to tell them. Because one, they don't want to know. They're not capable of learning. And they don't want to be held responsible for having that fucking knowledge. Because let's go outside, do this. Now, if everyone will take a look at your balance sheet, And I look around the table, and the women are sitting there like, what's a balance sheet? And I go, okay, I'm going to have to explain to you what a balance sheet is. And I go through the process of saying, this is a balance sheet. And I say, everyone check your schedules. Next Tuesday, same time, same bat channel. We're going to have another meeting on the same subject. Now they're held responsible. Next week, they have to remember what a balance sheet is. They have to know its importance, why we're talking about it, and what we're going to do about it. They don't want to be mansplained because, one, it makes them feel stupid. That's right. They should have known what it is before they even got into that job, before they were coming to this meeting. They should fucking know. But they don't, and they forget, and they don't care. And they don't want to be reminded of their ignorance, that they're 5-year-old little girls that all they care about is getting the paycheck. They don't want to have to work for it. They just want daddy to give them money. Right? They don't like being mansplained to because it exposes their ignorance, their unwillingness and inability to learn and to retain important information. And a balance sheet is a simple thing. Really, a 5-year-old could learn what a balance sheet is. You sit down with them for 10 minutes, you can explain it. Mansplain it. But they don't want that. They don't like being exposed as stupid because women want to believe they're as smart as men, that they're as good as men, that they're qualified to hold the job, the position that they're in. They don't like being embarrassed in front of other people when you start to explain things to them. So in defense of themselves, and in an effort to degrade you as the man, they will say, don't mansplain to me. You don't need to be mansplaining, as if you're doing something wrong. All of a sudden, as a knowledgeable man trying to help an ignorant woman, you're guilty of some social crime like mansplaining. You're not guilty of shit, right? Little boys, they love for their dads to tell them shit like that, right? Explaining it to them. And you get to use that awesome paternal tone of voice, right? And fuck, it had to be a month ago. I got mansplained by by my boss, right? One of my two bosses. I was pissed off, right? And I was fucking losing it. Private meeting. And he goes, now, John, I'm going to need you to step back, take a deep breath, and think about what you're going to say next. And I was like, oh, I just got mansplained. He just pointed out that I'm taking this subject way too personal. It was funny as fuck, right? We got done with the conversation, and I go, hey, man, great mansplaining, thanks, And he's like, hey, it's what we do, and that's my boss there. I did not take offense to it. It's mansplaining. Right? I did not see and recognize that I was taking the subject matter way too personal. Way too personal, and he just set me straight. He mansplained it. I saw it, and I was like, geez, even at 47, and I needed some splaining. And I accept that because I'm a man and I understand I have limitations. No man's an island. No man is perfect. No man knows everything. But he communicated in a way with me that made sense, that got the point across, that allowed the process, the effort, the work, the building of goodness, of things to continue. Because if I just sat there in a state of mind, a frame of mind where I was upset on a personal level, the job would come to an end. Women don't care about that. They don't care about the job. They don't care about you. They want your mansplaining to stop, and they don't care if it stops the whole fucking process.